Hey, so we're back for part three of the Profitable Course Creator series. In part one, we talked about whether it makes sense for you to add a course to your existing online business. So I talked about what the advantages of online courses are. And then we also walked through the three types of courses and which one that I recommend starting with. Then in part two, we moved on to one of the most common questions I get, which is what should the course actually be about and how much content should you include? So I walked through my process for identifying a course topic and also outlining and planning out all of your content. Now in part three, you might think that I'm going to talk about creating and recording and editing content. But in fact, I'm going to tell you something that may sound a little counterintuitive, which is I don't want you to create any content yet. I actually want you to start selling your course. And you might be like, whoa, like, how can I sell a course that doesn't exist? But please hear me out on this one. So there are a number of reasons why this is the best strategy to sell first, create later. Number one is it's nice to get paid up front, of course, collect money first. But just as importantly, I want to avoid you spending a ton of time and energy creating something that doesn't end up selling. So by pre-selling the course, which means putting it up for sale before you create anything, you're validating your idea. You're doing research to determine, is there enough demand to go through with the actual creation process, right? So you only want to commit to the work and the energy and all the stuff that goes into creating a course if you know that there are people out there who are willing to, give you their credit card and enroll in the course. That way, you're saving yourself a lot of time and headache, right? So what you do is, well, actually, I'll get into that later, like the actual process for this, but that's one big reason to pre-sell your course is to get paid up front and to validate your idea and to make sure that you're not wasting time and money creating something that doesn't sell. So the second reason for pre-selling your course is collecting feedback. So when you're planning out your course in your head, right, it sounds great. Like, you plan out all your content. You're like, this is going to be awesome. Like, it's going to answer everybody's questions. It's going to get people amazing results. But remember, like, you're thinking about that in your little bubble. So it's really important to get actual feedback from people who go through the course to see, is your content clear? Is there enough content? Is there, too much, too little? Is it in the right order? Are people able to like take the lessons and implement them and get results? Those are really big things that you need to find out. So when you pre-sell a course, what you can do is you create content as people are going through it. So after people enroll, you spend a couple weeks creating the first module of content for them to go through. And then as they're going through the first module of content, you're creating the second. And then as they're going through the second, you're creating the third, and so on and so forth. But so you're kind of like creating the content in real time as people are going through the course. And along the way, you should be listening to what people are saying and also asking questions. So you might have a community, you might have some live calls. You can be really responsive on, let's say, email or Slack or Voxer. And you're finding out how people are reacting to your content so that you can course correct if need be. You can shape the future content based on what people are telling you. So for example, if you see that they're really struggling with a certain module, you might need to rework that content to make it maybe to simplify it, or maybe to add some more detail to it, or to add another resource to it. Or you might realize that there's something that you assumed people know how to do that they don't. So you might need to add another module into the course. You might realize that you have to rearrange the order of the modules of the course to help people, flow through the steps better. So there are a lot of insights that you can gain as to the actual content and structure of the course by listening to the feedback of people who are going through it that you would not know. These are insights you would not know if you went ahead and just created the entire course first and then sold it. So by pre-selling it, you're basically shaping the course according to your consumers, as opposed to shaping it entirely according to your, what your own plan. So I hope that makes sense. Now, the third reason for pre-selling the course is holding yourself accountable. So this is a huge one, right? So as business owners, we all have a lot on our plates, right? And we might have the best intentions of creating a course, but life gets in the way, or you have these busy stretches in your business where you have to put your course on the back burner. And then before you know it, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months have passed and you haven't completed the course. You had the best intentions of doing it, but it's just not happening. But if you collect money from people and if you give them a schedule and you're telling them, this is when I'm going to release each module of the course, and this is exactly what you're getting, you're making a commitment that you have to uphold. So that's a third, I think, really big reason why it's great to pre-sell a course, is the accountability piece for yourself. So hopefully those are really compelling reasons and you want to move forward with pre-selling your course. So now I'm going to talk about how to do it. So the first thing is that even though you're not creating any content yet, you shouldn't pre-sell the course until you're crystal clear on what the course will eventually look like and what transformation it will provide. So if you're not sure about those things, go back and watch the previous video, the part 2 of this series, where I walk through the course topic and the content. Because when you go to sell a course, you need to do more than just tell people what they're getting, right? So people don't invest in a course because they want videos per se. They don't invest in a course because they want downloads. They invest in a course because they want a result. So in order to sell the course effectively, you have to be able to communicate what are the results that they can expect from the course. What are you going to teach them? How are you going to get them from point A to point Z, where they are now, to where they want to be? And so you have to have that promise, the course promise, and the roadmap very clear in your head to be able to communicate it to your potential customers. And then also people do need to know exactly what they're getting. So first you tell them what are the benefits of the course, what's the promise of the course, and then you also have to communicate what you get. So you would tell them they would get a certain number of modules, that they would get something like a community or live calls or downloadable resources, templates, guides, that kind of thing, so that they know whether, they can make the fully informed purchase decision. The second thing that you need to do to prepare to pre-sell a course is you need to summarize all of the information I just talked about in one place so that you can share the information with people. So your choice is you can either create a very simple sales page. So if you have a platform, like a software platform that you use for landing pages, you can make a sales page that describes the course promise, what transformation people can expect, what kind of questions it's going to answer, what kind of results it'll help them achieve, and then everything that's included. So you can summarize that in a simple sales page on a landing page builder, or you can just make a Google Doc that has everything. So, but either way, you need something that you can send people to provide this summary of what they're going to get. And then also on that page, you need to have a link where you can, people can click on the link if they want to enroll, and you can collect your payments. The third thing that you need to pre-sell a course is, well, I recommend that you have a discount. So this is usually positioned as a founding members discount or a beta round discount. So basically it's an extra incentive to get people to enroll, because you're telling people, I want to reward you for taking action and being, among the first group of people to go through my course. And usually the discount is only available either for a limited amount of time. So you can say like 2 or 3 days up to a week, or the discount can extend to a certain number of people. So the first 10 people to enroll or the first 20 people to enroll get this discount. So you don't, this is not a forever kind of discount. It's just a very specific strategy for your pre-sale to help you get those first people in the door and to reward the first people who raise their hand and say that they want to enroll. And then the last thing to do a pre-sale is to actually start spreading the word that your course is open for enrollment. So this could mean, reaching out to your audience wherever they are. So I am a big fan of email marketing, and I've been working on growing my email list. So that's my primary strategy, is sending emails out to my list. But if you're active on a social platform, you can also put promotional posts about your founding members round or your pre-sale on social media. But in general, you should have a set period of time where you're opening enrollment and offering this special incentive for the first group of people. And you want to be talking about that throughout, let's say, the week, so sending multiple emails, doing a lot of social posts, telling people what they're going to get, why now is the time to join, answering their questions about it, really focusing on like what they're going to get out of it. And maybe if you have like case studies or testimonials from other people who have worked with you, you can highlight those as well. But in general, what you're doing is creating excitement about your new offer and doing everything you can to address the questions and objections that your audience has and getting them in the door. So you can do a live event if you want. So you may have seen other business owners do something like a webinar or a challenge. But if that feels overwhelming to you, and if you have an established audience somewhere and you want to do the lower key pre-sale through email and social, you can do that as well. So now we are getting really close to the end of our series. We've talked about deciding on a course, planning out the content, pre-selling it. And in the fourth part of the series next week, I am going to be talking about how you turn that course into an evergreen sales machine. So that's like the dream of most people who go into course creation, is they want the ability to make money from their course somewhat passively 365 days a year. And you do that by setting up an evergreen system, which means that you can make sales of your course year round without having to rely on launches for sales. So be sure to tune in next week for that final part of the series, and I will see you then.